Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, 9th August 2018. I'm Investor Boynes with the details. Residents from several communities will continue to benefit from a climate change project that is being rolled out under the Undp Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership. This is also a collaborative effort with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that will heavily focus on public education and sustainable livelihoods. Rutvin Harper, National Focal Point Coordinator in SVG, said under Phase 1 of the project, more than 50 households have received water tanks and solar lanterns, and he has expressed satisfaction with the success of the project so far.
In Mairo, we have just finished complete installation of 51,000 gallon water tanks that is distributed to 50 homes. We are also at present just about to begin the rehabilitation of the water tank, the concrete tank at the Mairo Primary School. It is part of the project trying to make availability of water to residents who have scarce resources. And also in Mairo, we will be also installing another additional 10 1,000 gallon water tanks at the existing catchment, which is located at the church, the community catchment. So we'll probably have in Mairo maybe another, by the time we're finished, by end of September, an additional 100,000 gallon of drinkable water available to the residents.
Climate change and adaptation of people is an issue that is now being tackled, especially for small island states, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Following a recent survey done locally, the communities of Mesopotamia, Vermont, and Bequia were identified for climate change education because of recent climate change impacts.
Areas, as you would have known, in Vermont during the last snowstorm, we had a lot of flooding and damage by the river. Mespo also quite a lot, and also in Bequia, which Bequia is quite affected also by a lot of effects of climate change.
The Undp Japan Climate Change Project has 8 components, of which agriculture will be targeted. Around this time each year, we experience the haze and receive reports about its impacts on health and air travel. SVG has its own experiences with the presence of the Sahara dust in the environment. In part 1 of this 2-part series, SVG-TV's Bavin Oliver speaks with environmental scientist Dr. Renald Murray, who explains the background behind this phenomenon.
Visibility, itchy eyes, respiratory problems, dusty crops. These are just some of the visible impacts the Saharan dust has on people and the environment. But where in Africa is the source of this dust? Dr. Murray says it is from an area in Chad that used to be a great lake.
When the land that you farm dries up, it gets hard and form a cake, but when the riverbed dries up, it's much more loose, and it's that loose thing from the lake bottom that is moving out. The thing is, it's phenomenal, the size of the lake in the first place, and now the quantity of dust that moves. It is estimated that somewhere in the order of 70 million tons of dust move from that place every year. Now that's staggering to think. But it does not only affect the Caribbean, it comes through the whole Gulf of Mexico, and sometimes if the winds shift or if the direction change, it goes north up into the Mediterranean and into that part of Europe. When it comes through the Gulf, it goes all across to Miami and Mexico, Texas. They have suffered significantly. In fact, a lot of the research in terms of the Sahara dust are actually done by professors at the university in Florida, at A&M, and in Texas. They've done a lot of the work there, quantifying the dust and looking at the impacts on the people. We here in St. Vincent and the rest of the Caribbean have not really done any significant research on it, but we have seen the data from the others, and it's consistent, because what they're pointing out in terms of the effects on, say, the physical environment, first of all, when that dust storm leaves Africa, it's so thick, so heavy that it covers the place. It's like a dust storm that just covers everything. But it thins out as it picks up in the atmosphere and as it moves across the region. So it thins out and it gets less and less. But by the time it reaches us, what we have is this haze, this hue that hangs over the atmosphere. So what's that hue? It's nothing but dust.
Dr. Murray explained the impact of the dust on agriculture and what farmers have done to protect their crops.
Physical environment also, it has impacts on plants. Let's say you grow in things like lettuce or cabbage, and that volume is large, and those particles fall between the leaves. It can cause them to start rotting and cause spoilage. It can also affect things like bananas. You know, in bananas here, they put this cellophane, this plastic around them to prevent scratches, and it's that kind of dust and stuff they're trying to keep off. So if you have your fruits growing without any kind of coverage, which we don't want to cover up our fruits here, we want the sunlight, that dust can actually cause scratches and bruises and make them look little not so pleasant when it comes to marketing. So it can affect the appearance of your crops. It can really affect agriculture in that it can do damage to leafy crops and fruits and vegetables.
The environmental scientist said the dust also poses a risk to those who rely on rainwater for domestic use.
The dust from Africa, the Sahara is just so massive, and that area where the dust is coming from is so large. I mean, it's hitting Europe, it's hitting North America, and they can't do anything about it. We can't deal with the source unless you could stop the desert, which we can't right now. So it gets into the air. If it's in the rain season, you sometimes have mud rain in some areas, because there's so much dust and the rain comes around and brings it down, so you have this muddy stuff. Another challenge on that is, like, for people who catch rainwater from the roofs to do things, that dust particle can really make your water contaminated, so that's another challenge. But
he said the news is not all bad, as the dust reduces the formation of hurricanes and trough systems.
The dust sucks up a lot of the heat out of the atmosphere. When it does that, it cools down the environment, but it leaves the heat higher up, and that can impact on things like hurricanes and storms in reducing their impact, because they depends on the heat. They actually thrive on the hot water in the ocean, but when this dust comes low down and it takes the heat, it draws a lot of the heat. Solids heat up much faster than liquids, so the dust will take up a lot of the heat in the lower parts of the atmosphere. Thus is going to reduce the ability of hurricanes to be formed. It wouldn't stop them, but will reduce the impacts of hurricanes. And in some instances, it has actually stopped some of them, right? Because if they don't get the kind of temperature, the extent that is required, then they just become a storm or a trough or something. So it has a positive effect in reducing the impacts of storms.
For SVG-TV Evening News, I am Bavin Olver.
Young people who are undergoing training in the 2018 Youth Employment Training Program are expressing great enthusiasm and demonstrating potential. So says Azuba Adams, lecturer at the SVG Community College Division of Technical Vocational Education, as she gave an update on the progress of the students. Some 80 young people now on summer vacation are involved in the Youth Employment Program, which was launched last month and which provides training in a range of technical and vocational skills. Adams, who is the instructor for the entrepreneurial component of the program, said the students are learning fast.
It's Miss Adams and I'm a lecturer at the college. I am teaching the students basic entrepreneurial skills for small business, and so far so good. They have been showing improvement because they came here, they were a little bit rough and aggressive, and I'm looking at things like soft skills and professionalism, work ethics and so on. And this is the 4th day, and I must say I've seen a vast improvement from the time on Monday up to this time. Yes, I believe completing this program will lead to overall development, because the students are not only getting the skills, but they're getting the soft skills which will prepare them for the world of work, and I think they will be more appreciative. And yes, that I would agree that they will have overall development after completion of this program.
Two participants, Roderick Alexander and Okita Williams, explained to SVG-TV News why such a program is important to them.
And I'm in the plumbing class of this program. Well, so far everything going good and started. I want to join the program because I'm trying to uplift myself in life. My father was a plumber, and I'm looking to be the man to take his place when he's out of that and decide to sit down and relax himself. Yes, well, this program taught by Miss Adams is very important because it teaches you ways of going about in life differently than working. So I think it is helping.
And so far the program is going great. I'm learning how to swedge, how to flare, and how you braze. You braze a copper tubing and put it together, how you put on the side and everything. And so far I understand what I'm doing, and it's very important because somewhere along in the future you can better you are from where you're coming, because I was like on the block not doing anything, and this program, I hear this program, and I am the only person from inside my village down here doing this program, and I'm really grateful and thankful for it. So, like towards your working attitude, it shows you the attitude that how you're supposed to carry on the work and the way how you're supposed to dress in order for your employee to look at you and say that they can employ you.
Vincentian Robin Barnaby Grant joined 6 other youth ambassadors from the Eastern Caribbean as they take part in the 2018 Youth Ambassadors Program in the USA. The United States is hosting this year's event, which began on Tuesday. It is aimed at preparing youth leaders to become responsible citizens, fostering good relationships between different ethnic, religious, and national groups, creating networks among youth in different hemispheres, and creating an understanding among the people of the United States, South America, and the Caribbean. The youth ambassadors are expected to develop and implement social action plans in their home country at the end of the community program, which runs until August 28th. The program has benefited youth from over 60 countries for over 10 years. An appeal has been made for the public to continue supporting the ongoing programs of the Salvation Army. This as the charitable organization begins early preparations for the new school year. Commanding and Administrative Officer of the local arm, Major Pierre Antoine, told SVG-TV's Nikita Tony today that while the public and corporate community have been generous in their tangible support, there is always a need for more funds to support the Army's programs. We hear more in this report.
Since its establishment in 1903, the Salvation Army has made its mark in countries worldwide. An administrative officer of the local arm of the institution, Major Pierre Antoine, says his organization remains committed to offering multiple services to the needy. Giving God the glory for the work being done by the Salvation Army in SVG, Major Antoine said that throughout the years, in keeping with its mission, the Salvation Army has offered a number of programs to assist the needy in this country, especially children. He mentioned the ongoing meals program would see some 160 children and even adults being fed throughout the year. The Salvation Army also offers daycare and preschool services, which according to Major Antoine has about 100 children enrolled.
115 years, and the Salvation Army is doing a tremendous work. Has been doing a tremendous job so far. Our children in this country, and what we have to remember is that because if children don't eat properly, or if they go to school without a proper meal, then they will not be able to learn. So this is why, Salvation Army Salvation Army make sure that the children can come here together. School and the daycare, we reach near to 100. Before it was sewing machine, from sewing machine to the daycare, and it has been here for a long time, and then the preschool came after.
Located in Bookament and built in 2012 on land donated by the government, the Army's Children's Home serves as a halfway home for children who are displaced due to various social issues. Major Antoine said that the home currently houses 12 children and is always open and willing to create a safe haven whenever necessary.
But the home can accommodate 16, apart from the house mother and apart from the house mother. Because the children, the government has no choice. It's to find a place to keep them temporary. Even though, okay, they may go back the next day or the next month or whatever. But thanks be to God, we have their home. If the child is at risk, and then immediately, and then they can call and say, okay, we have a child who is at risk, and then please, we want to place this child at the home, and then immediately, and the door is open to do so.
The Major took the opportunity to encourage the public to continue supporting the various programs.
That never happened, but because of the help of the public and the business places too. And this is why we can keep this program going on. Christmas kettle is every year. and after Christmas kettle, we don't have any other fundraising. All right, and then we have to keep program going. And even though we get a little thing from the, we get something from the government, all right, but you know how it is. But you have to try to get some little thing there, some little thing there, some little thing there, to see how things can work and put things together, and to pay the bills, give a helping hand, so that the program, so that the Salvation Army can continue to achieve its goal in terms of supporting the less fortunate here.
Proceeds from the Salvation Army's most publicly visible drive, the annual Kettle Appeal, provides Christmas food parcels to institutions and senior citizens who are in need. Major Antoine is confident that the Salvation Army will continue to do its best to support the intentions. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.